So you're building a home. That's huge. But listen, one of the single biggest decisions you're going to make happens way before anyone pours a foundation. We're talking about the contract. Today, we're going to break down the two heavyweights, fixed price and cost plus, so you can figure out which path is the right one for you. There's just something magical about watching your dream home literally come to life. You go from these ideas in your head, sketches on paper, to actual walls rising from the ground. It's an absolutely incredible, rewarding process. But here's a twist for you. Before a single shovel hits the dirt, you have to make a choice that's, believe it or not, even more fundamental than your floor plan or the kind of countertops you want. That choice is the construction contract. It is the true foundation of your entire project. It sets all the financial and legal rules for everything to come. All right, let's start with the classic, the most traditional option out there, the fixed price contract. Think of this as the predictable path, where you know pretty much everything from day one. A fixed price contract, sometimes called a lump sum contract, it's exactly what it sounds like. Your builder agrees to deliver your completely finished home for one single price. That's it. Now, for this to work, every single detail, and I mean everything, from the rebar and the foundation to the exact model of your kitchen faucet, has to be spelled out in excruciatingly detailed plans before you sign on that dotted line. So what's the big appeal here? Budget certainty. You know the exact final cost before a single nail is hammered. That brings a ton of peace of mind, right? It also makes getting a loan way simpler. And hey, if the price of lumber suddenly shoots through the roof, guess what? That risk is on the builder, not on you. But, and this is a big but, that certainty comes at a price. This model is way less flexible. Let's say halfway through you decide you want to move a wall or upgrade your windows. That means you have to go through a formal and often slow and expensive process called a change order. And because the builder's profit margin is locked in, a shady builder might be tempted to cut corners on quality if their costs start to creep up. So where does that higher initial cost come from? Well, to protect themselves from all that risk we just talked about, builders will bake a contingency fund, usually around 10 to 15% directly into that fixed price. You're basically paying upfront for an insurance policy against cost overruns, whether they actually happen or not. Okay, now let's flip the script completely and look at our second option, the cost plus contract. This is a fundamentally different way of thinking, and it's all about transparency. They call it an open book contract for a very good reason. In this model, you agree to pay the actual cost of all the labor and all the materials. That's the cost part. You see every single invoice, every receipt. Then, on top of that, you pay the builder a pre-agreed fee for their work, their overhead, and their profit. And that's the plus. Simple as that. The number one benefit here is total transparency. You see exactly where every single one of your dollars is going. It's also incredibly flexible. You want to upgrade those appliances? No problem. You just pay the actual difference in price plus the builder's fee on that difference. And get this, if your builder gets a great deal on materials, those savings go right back into your pocket. Okay, but with all that flexibility comes the trade-off, risk. In a cost-plus contract, the financial risk shifts completely over to you, the homeowner. You start the project with a good estimate, sure, but not a guaranteed final price. If material costs go crazy, that's coming out of your budget. It also means you need to be much more involved, keeping a close eye on the whole process. So how does the builder make their money? Well, that plus part, their fee, is usually a percentage of the total project cost, typically somewhere in the 10 to 20% range. Now, sometimes it can be a fixed fee instead of a percentage, which is actually a great idea because it removes any incentive for the builder to let costs balloon. Okay, so we've looked at both models on their own. Now for the fun part. Let's put them head to head and really see how they stack up against each other. This table just lays it all out so clearly, doesn't it? And you can see how everything is connected. With fixed price, the builder takes on all the risk, which means you get less transparency and low flexibility, but you get that predictable final cost. With cost plus, you take on the risk, but in exchange, you get full transparency, high flexibility, and a much more hands-on role. It's all about trade-offs. So with all these trade-offs staring you in the face, how in the world do you choose? Well, it really just comes down to answering three key questions about your project and about yourself. First off, take a hard look at your plans. Are they done? Done? Is every single detail, down to the last light switch and doorknob, already decided? If the answer is yes, your project is a perfect candidate for a fixed price contract. But if your vision is a little more fluid and you know you're going to want to make decisions as you go, you'll love the flexibility of a cost plus. All right, second question, and you've got to be honest with yourself on this one. What is your personal comfort level with risk? Are you the kind of person who needs absolute budget certainty to sleep at night? If so, the predictable path of a fixed price contract is definitely for you. Or are you okay with a little bit of uncertainty in exchange for way more control, total transparency, and the chance to save some money? If that's you, then Cost Plus is probably a much better fit. And this brings us to the final question, which honestly is the most important factor of all. More than the type of contract you sign, it's your builder's integrity, their competence, and their communication skills that will make or break your project. A truly great builder is going to have your back and look out for your best interests no matter what kind of contract you have. I think this quote from our source material just hits the nail on the head. A contract is just a tool. It's a framework for how you'll work together. But it's the trust in your relationship with your builder, that's the glue that really holds the whole project together and guarantees you're going to have a fantastic result. So, as you get ready to build your dream home, remember this choice isn't just about the numbers on a page. It's about aligning the financial structure with your project, with your personality, and most importantly, with your builder. So which will it be? The predictable path or the flexible journey? Which one is right for you?